one of the star ads of the transfer portal for Todd Golden was Princeton guard Xaivian Lee, who was obviously compensated pretty well by Florida. But we got to see a number that came out yesterday that Xaivian Lee, and this is a couple of different outlets are reporting this, that he is reportedly making $6 million this year between Florida and the shoe deal that he is getting with the international. I think I want to say it is a China-based brand for what the shoes are, for what the shoe company is.
I believe it is Chinese, but they have a base in Boston.
They have a base in Boston. Okay. And that will have Xavier Lee making almost $6 million this season. And he is the face of the brand, and he's the face of the brand too, by the way. Ralph, before we hopped on here, literally
Yeah.
typed in, is it serious players only, the name of the brand?
Serious player only. I believe serious player only. And he was the front, like you click on the website, it loads to loading screen and there's like a image at the top and it's Xavier Lee.
Xavier Lee making the big bucks here, making upwards of $6 million. Now, obviously, when these type of numbers get attached to players, it sets the world on fire. Like I think I was scrolling my timeline and all I saw was $6 million Xavier Lee, $6 million Xavier Lee. And part of it is Florida, like you said. But for him to be able to sign a multi-year partnership with, serious player only, that'll make him basically the future face of the company, and he's gonna get like a signature shoe too. Like you will be able to buy whatever it is
Yeah.
the Xavier Lee ones pretty soon here. It's really cool to see. I love when players are able to do this. I like when players are able to get their money, get their bag, and now Xavier Lee's in a spot where he'll be compensated by Florida, and he'll also be compensated by this shoe company. And I think he's worthy of it. Obviously, he's been a very productive player at the college level with Princeton. I mean, you don't average 17.6 rebounds and almost 6 assists a game. Not by accident. He was one of the more coveted players in the portal. He had visited Kansas. He had visited St. John's. Ends up ultimately choosing Florida. I guess I'll throw it to you first on this one, Ralph. What does this mean, I guess, for Xavier Lee? Because we see kind of how college basketball players get perceived once they get that actual number slapped on them.
I'm interested to know how real that number is, or if
Yeah.
it's the full number with 3 million of incentives that can bring it up to 6 million or different things on there because it feels like a lot. At the same time, had you heard of serious player only before this?
Absolutely not.
I had not either. So you're getting some publicity out of this with one of the high profile transfers, and you are essentially betting that he's gonna hit. Because if he is a star on the defending national champions, he is going to be much more notable. Going to have an NBA draft future if that's the case. Again, we got to see how he translates up to playing in the SEC. And if he does, he's your signature athlete, and you're essentially betting on Xavier Lee. There's also the element of I know Xavier Lee is Canadian, he's from Toronto,
Hmm.
but he has Asian heritage.
Hmm.
So those players with Asian heritage are very marketable in Asia, which is a basketball crazed area.
Yeah.
We saw Jeremy Lin have a ton of merchandise sales when he was going through his insanity run, even after obviously Yao Ming as well. So there's the potential from a marketing standpoint, you can tap into that and get some sales from there as well. So from the investment from serious player only, we're talking about them. I think there's upside that you talk about like in the boardroom, but it is a bet on Xavier Lee. And Lee is being compensated for essentially that bet. He's in a unique position almost in that sense, but it's not going to mean anything if he doesn't produce. Like this is this is a gamble by a serious player only. And if you're Xavier Lee, I don't know if you got like I don't think going to Florida had the deal was not contingent on him going to Florida. That's what I'm trying to say. Easy enough. But I do think that helps solidify it because of the defending national champs. It's a big
Yeah.
brand in the SEC. You're going to be on ESPN all the time.
Yeah.
I think that helped, but I still would be shocked if the total figure for Xavier Lee ended up being like 6 million.
Yeah, this to me too points to some of the ways or the avenues that I think NIL gets overlooked sometimes. It's really about eyeballs on you, right? Like especially these
Right.
lower level kids, like they have it's not even them not being marketable. Like these sometimes there's marketable kids and marketable talents and talents like Xavian Lee that it doesn't make sense for a brand to want to align themselves with somebody who you got to log into Flow Hoops TV to watch them, right?
Right.
Now, on the other hand, I got the starting guard for the defending national champions, coached by Todd Golden, playing in the SEC every single night, like you said. That's what gets you brand deals, right? That's what gets you eyeballs on you. That's what gets you, you know, opportunities like Serious Player Only and other opportunities that Xavier Lee has already like capitalized on. He has partnerships with AT&T, PlayStation, um, like on top of everything, he's getting NIL from school, the shoe deal, and you made a great point too. The basketball like market overseas, especially in Asia, is like insane. Like I look at players like D'Angelo Russell, he's a Way of Wade athlete, and Way of Wade is like a massive shoe brand overseas, right? And D'Angelo Russell goes on a tour basically in Asia every single summer, and you
Mhm.
would think that it's like the Pope visiting. It is insane, and I'm not even trying to disrespect D'Angelo Russell, but like it's also D'Angelo Russell, but like
Right.
they act like it's Kobe Bryant that they're seeing, right? There is that type of power behind this, and it means something even more when it's like there's something to be said about people and ki honestly kids too watching players that look like them be successful and have
Yeah.
success. Like you can say what you want about Xavier Lee and whether it's going to translate or whether it's going to like be what it is, and he'll have success at Florida. But there's definitely going to be young kids out there who are going to see Xavier Lee and be like, that guy looks like me. I want to be like him. I want to wear the shoes that he wears. And it's like you said, it's a risk, it's a gamble. Um, but I think it's one that's worth it. The only part that I think sucks in this whole thing is that all these details are going to get thrown away. It's $6 million player Xavier Lee now. That's every
Right.
single night. That's every single night. We are going to see many and more tweets about Xavier Lee when he has an off night and people saying, damn, that's what $6 million gets me. That's what it's going to be, unfortunately, right?
Yep. Or if, there's a real chance Boogie Fland is the dominant guard and Xavier Lee is kind of the number two. And with how good that front court is, maybe he goes further down the pecking order. And you get the 6 million for the guy to stand in the corner for a couple
Yeah.
possessions.
Yeah.
Like it puts a target on your back fairly or unfairly, both in games, because there's going to be some trash talk that references $6 million, student
Facts.
sections, and then fans on social media. Like that's when you get a number attached to it. There's a certain circuit target that comes with that, for better or worse. But I guess if you're Xavier Lee, I'll take $6 million.
I'll gladly take it. Also, serious player only. If y'all see this, let me get a pair of Xavier Lees. I need a pair of
Hey,
kicks, please. I'm willing to be a brand manager. Also, if
I
I'm
will
at
put I
another,
will put a logo somewhere back here
oh yeah,
if you send me something.
we got plenty. We got plenty. I'll find some space back here for it. Um, Also, if I'm another SEC player, I'm hooping in Xavier Lees and hoping I bust his ass and win. I'm using that as a tactic.
You can no, you can't do that against him because if you show up, like if you went to play, he automatically wins. If you
Yeah.
show up against LeBron wearing LeBrons, he automatically wins. You can't wear his shoes against him.
That's true. No matter what you do, because he can just hit you with the good old, it's like the good old equalizer you had back in elementary school, like where you hit people with your mama. You could just hit them with the. That's why you got my shoes on. So, look, I'm looking
Right.
forward to it. All this is great. All this is a great opportunity for Xavier Lee. Uh, I'm dead ass though. Serious player only. Send me some kicks.